Guys, do you know how much I love you? I feel like I just need to say that. I feel like weirdly closer to you all since I've started Salt Talks. And my love is worrying me because it's growing at such a rapid pace. Like, how can I love people this much that I've never met and who have never seen my face? The world is really trippy in that way. I know sometimes I get feedback about how I perhaps go on a little bit too long about who the message is for and disclaimers and the warnings that Spirit kind of present to me. I get it. I know that intros shouldn't be overly long, but you must understand, at least some of you, that some messages will require more upfront transparency. There's a lot of times that I get messages where Spirit is very stern with me about who the message is for. And when I told you guys yesterday to just leave at the beginning of the reading, I know that was kind of mean. I feel bad. Some of you did tell me that you felt it was kind of mean. And I just want you to know it's more of like how the energy flows through me. In that moment, I had to be stern. It's not that I don't want to hang out with some of you or that you're not welcome in this space. It's just sometimes the message is intensely meant for a small group of people. So it's important that I filter. But all that being said, this one is not harsh in the sense of a filter necessarily. There's not really specifics being presented here for who this is for. I kind of get the sense that this group of people are both feeling generally like everything is happening and nothing is happening at all. So I just feel you feel, whoever this is meant for, that these large changes are coming, but you also at the same time feel like you might be in the same rut, the same circumstance, or maybe it's even worse. Like the closer it feels it's getting to you, the worse your circumstance is feeling. And it's confusing how those realities can coexist. How can you feel something so closely, but also feel like it's moving further away at the same time? There's also a few transits that I'm pulling and have pulled here that are showing me the change that you feel so closely is coming in. You can sense what I'm seeing here so strongly, and it's really disorienting you because the energy, this change energy for you is so large. It would be impossible not to feel it, especially at the stage you're currently in, sort of walking into that change energy. I also kind of see that you haven't experienced a change this big yet. So you could really feel like you're losing it in some way. There's a worry of delusion, I feel, that's alongside this change. So I definitely feel it's more of an inclusive message today. It's not filtering a large amount of people like maybe yesterday's reading was. While this change moves through you, there's a few things you might experience that this message is going to talk about for you. There's what I think looks like kind of a warning or some sort of preparation as you walk through this change energy that's so large. And this large reconstruction that's going on with your life requires a sort of understanding about something that I think this reading is going to highlight for you. So if it kind of sounds like you, if it sounds like how you've been feeling, this reading is yours. Okay, so right away, I'm being presented what looks like your perspective here. At this time, there's really what's being shown to me as two groups, or I guess two distinct emotions that are popping through the most here. The first is the emotion of feeling slightly overwhelmed with this change energy. And the second is more so empty, like a dissatisfaction. But those emotions are changing. It's not like one or the other. It's just primary modes almost, like what you keep circling back to is the important part. And it might not even be that the emotion itself is important. I think it's challenging how you perceive the emotion a little bit here. So I'll talk about the specifics of the feeling and how to prepare for the shift, I think, in the next part. But this part, it looks like it's wanting to address the feeling of what it's really showing you in the first place. I kind of see you right now, or have been for a little bit, focusing on whatever these emotions are, however they show up for you, as kind of like signals for right and wrong in certain ways. And you're not wrong to feel like they're kind of showing something to you. I see you kind of have the right instinct here, definitely. It just kind of seems like you're really acutely aware of yourself and you're paying attention to the internal feedback, which is a sign of highly developed consciousness. It wasn't always the case from what I can see in your past. Like, this is sort of a new awareness that you've recently unlocked. And for some of you, it can feel kind of overwhelming. Like you're really thinking about these emotions as they're coming up, right? Like you're really acutely aware of them. And the emotional awareness, like I said, I think is definitely the right instinct that is pointing you in the right direction. But the interpretation that I'm being shown versus how you're seeing it is slightly different. And I don't know why. I think being overwhelmed, sad, empty, whatever the feeling is that you keep circling to, however it manifests for you, it's not a signal necessarily that something is wrong or needs to be changed. I think it's kind of like a timeline indication. It's kind of like more pointing towards time. I honestly think that all of us think if we feel bad emotions, something's wrong or we have to change something. And I don't actually think that it's wrong to think that way. In certain circumstances, yes, that makes sense. If we're always sad, perhaps we should do less sad things or get out of that sadness somehow if we can. But I see the time element here, the time element. That is what is being highlighted here as important for this, that you need to understand is like, it's not the feelings themselves that are really relevant here. It's the way in which they've either amplified for you, gotten stronger, or they keep circling back to that specific emotion. It's kind of what's being presented to me as like a byproduct of your shift, a byproduct of the timeline movement that you're undergoing right now. There's like a delicate balance between energies here. And when a big shift happens, like the one you're currently on, this like open door energy, there's a huge mismatch of timing that occurs as a result. It's that your energy makeup has shifted, the energy around you has shifted to prepare you for that new timeline, that new state, that new change, but you yourself haven't shifted alongside of it. And this is true for a lot of energy. I see this come up in a lot of readings as like to explain that change doesn't happen overnight. Timeline shifts don't flip a switch and then change. There's a lot of catching up energy that has to happen. And usually shit kind of hits the fan in this type of space because that catching up to a new frequency is never clean. It's never a simple flip of a switch. There's like friction, there's frustration, there's emptiness, there's like this bad feeling that kind of comes with it. And I see a lot of my collective is kind of experiencing that disorientation because of the mismatch in timing. It's not permanent and it will only exist temporarily while this energy kind of rebalances. But the important part is that you recognize it's not that something is wrong. It's kind of showing you something moved under your feet. And now you're rebalancing to match that. As I was getting ready to conclude this reading, kind of wrap it all together, a couple of really odd things came through. I don't know how it's relating to the meaning. Maybe it'll come to me, but, and of course I'll leave this information in the description as always, but you could be at this time speaking to a lot of what looks like deaf ears, a lot of people who don't value your insight or words. This is coming through in the form of what's being shown to me as like written communication, typing things out, explaining things to others, verbally processing to them, and the other not valuing it at all, not valuing the time spent, not valuing the words. This could also be reversed, like someone is contemplating doing it to you and perhaps you're not valuing it. There's some sort of mismatch here in speaking, communicating to those who are not receiving it well at this time, or not able to receive it, I should say. There's also, on the note of communication, what seems to be, this one's interesting. This seems to be coming through as like a lot of disorganized communicational means or outlets. There's what I can only describe as like a contact list or the access you have to communicating with people. It's disorganized, it's disorderly, it's not prepped and ready for new incoming contacts, new incoming energy. because it has too much of the old. I'm picking up like this being a contact list, like in your phone, all the contacts you may have that live in there, being like 10 years old, being like old high school numbers that you've never gotten rid of. And I'll definitely leave a little bit more in the description, but really it's just a note to be mindful about the access spaces you have around you and how orderly they are. But you definitely don't need your old contacts from 10, 20 years ago you never talk to anymore. Okay, so this last part of the message, I see those two emotions that I pointed out at the beginning again here. And I don't know if it's really pointing at these as literal emotions again, but it could be literal for some of you. It's just more so pointing out a signal as it relates to your upcoming shift and how it's being shown to you through continuously circling these types of emotions. If they keep coming up, if they keep coming back for you, if they're amplifying, if they're getting worse, etc. So I'll split it up into the two messages that are coming through for the two types of groups. The first group is those who are primarily circling around what looks like overwhelm, anxiety, worry, fear, those types of things. If you keep coming back to that, if you keep circling that, there's a distinct message here to kind of lean in as a way to feel less because you're in a state of perpetual feeling. It's kind of showing up to me as like what looks like here. You've been in your feminine energy almost too long, or because of this timeline shift under your feet, you're now being asked to switch into the masculine energy. You've been in this feminine space where you've reflected, you've felt, you've been taking sacred pauses, and that's probably served you for a very long time now. But this overwhelm, this anxiety, this worry, however it's manifesting for you, is a result of overstaying now in this feminine space. It's not that the feelings are wrong and that they're always going to point and indicate to shifting into masculine. It's asking for a balance between the feminine and masculine. As this timeline shift is approaching for you, this big change, it's created this imbalance and it's disrupted the ground underneath your feet, and it requires this new energetic approach. That doesn't mean that you'll have to live in masculine energy forever. It doesn't mean that your feminine energy that you were in was wrong. It's now that things are just shifting around you and you must change with it or be dragged. This disorientation you're feeling, this confusion you're feeling is because I see here that this feminine energy, this place you've been in, has really been serving you for a very long time. You could feel also that it's saved you. Some of you could feel like it's very sacred, this processing space, this sacred pause, this internal reflection. It was your life raft. It saved and helped you through something. And so now that the universe is kind of demanding a shift into the opposite energy, it's going to feel almost like overwhelming, like you don't know what's kind of being asked of you. Why is it changing now? I was fine before kind of vibes. But from what I can see here, it's just really asking you now to take on and embrace that more masculine approach. It's wanting more action, less feeling, more time in your body and less inside of your mind. You're kind of like transitioning from reflection to action, and you're kind of being asked to move forward without a lot of thought. Now that you've sat on these things, to not overthink them and to move forward. Now, for those of you who have primarily been circling around what looks like emptiness, that's really the only emotion that's kind of coming through, but it can kind of hold multiple, I think. You'll kind of just know. I think sadness could be involved in this as well. Depression, maybe like other certain less stimulated emotions. This can manifest really in many ways, but I think this one's more complicated than just feeling empty. I see kind of it showing up as like a lack of excitement for holidays, a feeling of annoyance, a feeling of not having pleasure in certain things the way you used to, not wanting to do things like that. But how I see it kind of coming into shape for you is you have a really strong emphasis on your habitual formation, like your daily routine, the way that you're going about each habit every day. There's a focus in your action there's a focus in your routine. And so similar to the last group, you're the reversal of them. You've spent what looks like too long in your masculine energy, too long in this daily action, and you're being kind of asked to shift into more introspection, more feeling rather than doing. And I'm getting kind of like a strange reaction from me saying that. You could really believe that you think too much. You could really believe after me saying that, Salt, I am always introspecting. I'm always in my head. And I see that being your perspective here. But what's being asked of you is different when you're fully embodying feminine energy. It kind of requires more than just thinking, although thinking is a part of it, although introspection is a part of it. It's asking you to shift between this focus on action, your routines, your rituals, and kind of sitting in stillness instead of focusing on these kind of like routines, these lifelines that you've created, these actions, I almost just see you like going through the motions, like you're really action oriented in that way. And it's not telling you, of course, don't hear that it's saying dump all your healthy habits and lay in bed, unless that's what you need. It's really asking for a period of stillness before you can tap into this feminine energy. This crutch you have of routines is getting in the way of what needs to happen before you can access the feminine in its full shape. The feminine can easily be overpowered by mental noise, and that isn't her real voice. That isn't her real intuition. So she requires complete surrender to stillness to really hear her voice again. There's like a 2-step process in accessing the feminine energy. So it's more than just stopping action and thinking, because you might be in your thoughts a lot. It's embracing stillness before you can really hear the intuition of the feminine. And so I just kind of see a lot of like circling this emptiness, a lot of like lack of passion for things. And it's really coming through as a need to rebalance the feminine. And you've been in this masculine state for too long. And it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you specifically because stopping action abruptly is more of a challenge than going from inaction to action. Because when you go from inaction to action, like the first group, it takes a little bit of bravery. It takes a little bit of like oh shit, I'm doing this. But it kind of eases up after that point. For you to abruptly stop after you've been moving, after you've been going through the motions for so long, it's going to feel way more challenging for a little bit longer to embrace stillness. The shift is much more disorienting. So ultimately for both groups here, the message today seemed to be a huge change in the energy that has already started and is already underway for those who have resonated with this message. The feeling or groups, I can't stress enough, are really flexible. It doesn't have to be specifically the emotions that I've laid out equal what you need to do. Instead, you can focus on what you feel you embody. If you feel you embody more masculine energy, then focusing on your feminine might be the message for you today, and vice versa. But you might also exactly fit within the emotion that I've laid out and what's being asked of you as a result. So just really take your discernment here for where you feel you are, because emotions are so fluctuating. They're so variable, and it's more beneficial to just kind of like take a moment to reflect on where you may be and where this message is pointing at for you. The space you're in is so unlike other spaces because feminine and masculine imbalances are usually more gradual. They happen automatically. They rebalance throughout our life. We might not even notice them. They just are a very natural thing that's just constantly shifting, constantly automatically moving. But for you, it feels so extreme right now because the shift under your feet is so large. The gap is so big, and that's why it's going to feel so disorienting for a little bit here is you've never had to intentionally rebalance these energies, but just know that you're in this space because you're catching up to that shift and things are really moving forward for you. Hi, friends. Welcome to episode 6 of Salt Talks. For those of you who are like, what the hell is Salt Talks? As you probably have already guessed, this channel is a little bit different, but in the best way, I hope. This is like my way of commenting back to you all. You all share so much with me, so much energy, so much of yourself. And while I do protect the space here, maybe a little bit more than most readers do online, this is my way of reciprocating that energy back to you so you can feel into me the same way I feel into you. A little bit different, I know, but different is good. I just sat here in like 3 minutes of silence because I had no idea what to say. It was funny because a while back I did a salt talk and I was like, I feel so scared when I do these because I feel like I'm just going to sit here in silence. And the comment was basically like, just edit out the silence. And I'm going to have to do that on this one. So I kind of want to quickly talk about, this is a good one. I think some comments that come up about the channel that I made on a whim. I made this channel called Sleeping Salt. It was really a sporadic decision. And I haven't really gotten to formally talk to you all about it. And you guys keep kind of asking me the same things or giving me the same feedback. So I'll take a moment to talk about it here now. Some of you are probably like, what are you talking about? You probably never even heard of it and have no idea because I just have very indirectly put it in the description. I haven't really made any formality of it. So basically what happened, I'll start from the beginning, is I started getting really detailed messages, really detailed downloads for you all. And it started containing specific frequencies or hertz that can help some of you and what you're going through. A lot of it felt like really terrible insomnia. A lot of it was keeping me awake at the same time. It still kind of is, which I don't mind at all. More time to work. Some of the frequencies that come through are not specific to sleep, although they kind of interrelate. And so thus the name Sleeping Salt was born. The names are arbitrary though. It's the meaning and intent behind them. But I basically made this little channel for my collective so I could have a place where I could give their specific frequency needs that I'm getting through spirit. I didn't really expect anything of this channel. Like, I kind of thought I would have 0 subscribers forever, if that's possible. And it would really just be like a way to direct from my main channel to this like small little place. But it started getting feedback. The same feedback kept coming in. It got a little bit bigger. And I want to address the comments about ads disrupting the subliminals, the messages. A lot of you who don't have YouTube Premium are experiencing kind of like this issue with ads interrupting the experience, especially because I'm providing overnight subliminals. I'm doing like 8-hour sounds so you could listen to them all night. And I want to clarify that, I mean, YouTube is a weird beast, first and foremost. Some of you should know that I actually have no control over the ads until I reach a threshold. I think it's like 10,000 subscribers. And I think that channel's at like 7 right now, 700. I didn't even think about the ads when I was creating it because it was such a whim, sporadic thing. So just so you know, you guys who have given me that feedback said, I can't watch this because of the ads, that I won't be able to really touch that until I reach that threshold. And another thing that you guys should be like aware of is there's no such thing on YouTube as a video that doesn't have ads. You should know that is unless you pay for premium, all videos have ads. And the only thing that I can really do as a creator is control the placement of them, because if YouTube had complete control, they would be placing those ads automatically every 2 seconds. And so right now YouTube has complete control. And so that's why it's like dominated with ads for those who don't pay for the premium YouTube, which removes all the ads automatically. There's no way to fully get rid of ads for those who don't pay for premium, but what I can do is place them strategically and make sure they're not in the middle of the content and they don't wake you up. And so once I have those beautiful granted YouTube powers, I will be sure to let you guys know, those who don't have premium. I'll put it in the description. So, or you could just keep checking the videos to see if they've been changed yet. It probably will be maybe like a month or so. I don't really know how long it'll take to get those powers, but just for everyone who keeps letting me know about that, I will fix it. I very much promise that once I have the permission and the powers to do so. I think eventually what might come from the channel from Sleeping Salt, I might experiment with it since it's so new. I've been thinking about ways to evolve that in the future because starting off as a whim channel, I really didn't think much would come of it, but there seems to be a need for my collective specifically. In the future, I might do crazy things on that channel. I've thought about doing sound baths. I've thought about recording myself because some healers on YouTube do things like that. And I think that that could be a personal way in which we connect to the healing frequency that you need. It might evolve over time. It won't stay in that shape forever. I'm still learning about what you all need. The downloads still come through. They change almost every week. So more to come on that. Don't think it's just going to be like that forever. And again, especially for those who are new here, keep leaving comments, keep nudging me. If you felt like today's reading was detailed, if you're new here, the details come from me protecting the space, protecting the communicational energy. The way that in which I channel and provide detailed messages come from energetic nudges from you. So pings, anything. It doesn't need to be very specific. It doesn't need to be like your whole life story, just nudging me, really. So keep commenting, email me if you need to, whatever you need to do to nudge your energy towards me so I can give you those quality reads. I love you guys so much, and I'm thankful literally every day that you have chosen to be here with me. So cheers, friends.